Hi, this week's parsha is Parshas Pinchas. It's probably one of the most poetic chapters or sections in the Torah, almost written like a literary book, and I'll explain why. Last week, the Parshas Balak ends where this mysterious man from Bnei Israel is killed with a Midianite woman by Pinchas, and it doesn't tell you who they are. And the plague stops, and the parsha starts where God says, because this man Pinchas defended my honor, I have stopped destroying Bnei Israel, and I'm giving Pinchas this brit of shalom. Now, right after that, it says, and it's going to be a covenant that lasts for him and for his children, this covenant of the kahunat olam, which is like an eternal priesthood. But then there's two psukim that are almost like editor comments. I'm not saying they were added later, but it's almost like the Luz Beit El in a sense. It says that the name of the man was Zimri ben Salu, who was a prince of the tribe of Shimon. And then the name of the woman who was the Midianite was Kozbi Batsur. So I have a couple of points to make. Number one is I think that these people were singled out because this was such a horrific episode in our history that as a good writer, if you want people to remember something, you visualize it. And so by in the beginning of the story, we didn't know who they were, but now that the story has happened and the Torah, again, we have this theme that it's written for us just as much as it was written for the people when it was happening. Our ability to remember the story is, if you say Zimri to anybody or Cosby, people immediately associate with the story of Pinchas, and that now leads to the second point. As much as it's a literary parsha, it's also a parsha that's about sacrifice. So Pinchas made the ultimate sacrifice of his, potentially of his life by killing somebody, which God then rewarded. And now if we go all the way after the huge section about all the children and the counting, you come to the point where God says they need to appoint a successor to Moshe, which is Yehoshua. And then they spend all this time talking about sacrifices. So what's the point? Because we already learned about sacrifices back in Vayikra. So why are we talking about sacrifices now? I think sacrifices connects to the, thematically, the Pinchas bringing up, being described as doing an ultimate sacrifice. And so we have to remember sacrifices for themselves are not a lishma episode. We're supposed to hold the animals or bring the animals to or even the flour and the oil as a mechanism to get to a greater place. And that greater place would be shalom. So the ultimate sacrifice really is to lead to the ultimate place, which is peace. And those sacrifices to our modern mind may look extremely ugly, to use a nice term. We should remember that the point of the sacrifices is what we should be concentrating on. So have a good week, and thank you.